One of the most common questions I get is, Matt, what size infrared sauna should I buy? And unfortunately, there's no one size fits all answer. I've seen people buy a sauna that's too big for their space and their budget, but I've also seen plenty of people regret not spending just a little bit more to go one size bigger. So today, instead of telling you what size to buy, I want to walk you through the exact questions I would ask myself if I were buying a sauna today. By the end of this video, you should have a much better idea which size actually fits your lifestyle, your home, your long-term goals. Number one, how many people will realistically use it? There's daily use versus occasional use. There's individual sessions or using it with spouse and family, children. There's a lot of use cases here, and we want to account for all of them. Many people believe that they're going to be saunaing at home, either by themselves or with a spouse, or vice versa. So one of the best things that you can do is sit down and get crystal clear on your actual use case and the usability and whether or not family is really going to use it with you. I thought that I would sauna with my spouse all the time, but after sweating shoulder to shoulder in a two-person sauna, I realized if I'm gonna do that, number one, it's gotta be a three-person sauna or bigger. And number two, we kind of like to sauna separately. And keep in mind, the most important thing here is for you to be comfortable using the sauna. Why? Because comfort equates to adherence to a regular sauna schedule. And for you to get health benefit, you need to be using it regularly. Number two is, how do you actually like to sauna? Do you like to sit upright? Do you like to sit stretching your legs out? Do you want to be lying down? Everyone has personal comfort preferences, and this is really important to take into account. For me personally, if I want to sit upright, I can use everything from a mini sauna to a one-person to a two-person to a 2.5 to a 3. It doesn't make any difference. But when it comes to stretching my legs out, I'm 6 feet tall. It takes at least a 2.5-person sauna. A two-person sauna, which is 48 by 48, will not let me stretch my legs out completely without my ankles running into the other sidewall. So a 2.5 or a 3-person sauna is plenty wide enough for me to stretch out, feel really comfortable, but I can't lie down. So if you're a person that wants to lie down, I would suggest looking at a 3-person or a 4-person sauna. Now, if you're smaller, if you're a female or you're a petite person, not broad-shouldered like me, you can get away with a 1-person sauna if you're 5 feet tall or so. You can get away with putting a leg up, spinning sideways. You can get away with a lot of times stretching your legs out in a 2-person sauna, that 48-inch width that I'm talking about. So it all depends on how broad-shouldered you are. I mean, obviously I'm using male terminology here, but if you're petite and your height, all that's going to come into play into how much space you're going to have and how much comfort you'd have if you weren't sitting in a regular upright position. So what I like to do if I want to make absolute certain that I'm getting the right size is look at the internal dimensions online, put a chair in the middle of my kitchen, and use masking tape and tape out the floor. Take a cardboard box and hold it on either side, and I get an idea of what it's gonna feel like when I get it in my house. Next on the list is sizing for your space. Everyone's gonna tell you to measure your available space and make sure it fits. But here's a couple things that most people don't account for. If it's going in a garage, probably no big deal. If it's going in a basement, however, if there's a stairwell that has to get down there that has a turn in it, you wanna make sure that the largest piece of the sauna itself, which is usually the back wall, depending on what configuration or brand or model, is going to make it through that turn, through the stairwell. If it's a second floor, if it's a bedroom, if it's a covered patio with limited door openings, you want to actually make sure that the pieces will make it inside before you buy. So a recent example of me miscalculating this is when we donated a sauna to a massage studio. We measured the openings and made sure everything was correct. What we didn't account for was the entry doors to the stairwell being extremely short. The interior ceiling height was extremely short. We only had a couple inches of access. And while the sauna fit fine in the room, we measured the floor layout, made sure everything was going to work well, made sure there was an outlet close to it and the pigtail to plug it in was long enough, and just all the things that you need to account for. One oversight from yours truly was that there was an AC duct that dropped down from the ceiling. And when you go to put the roof on, you need a little bit of space in order to do the electrical, connections in order to hook the sauna up. So I'm up there on a ladder, and there's really not enough room for my head to fit and to see exactly what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. Probably give you a couple more examples, but you get the idea. Make sure you measure first before you buy. And number 4 on the list, which for some people should be number 1 on the list, because if you're looking at saunas that require 240 volts and you can't supply 240 volts, you shouldn't even be looking at it. 120 versus 240. Are there additional electrical costs if you decide to get something that's larger or has a big power supply? You definitely want to plan ahead way before delivery. You want to consult an electrician if you need electrical upgrade. So there's two camps here. You're either looking at a plug-and-play sauna that'll work on a regular outlet. Basically, if you can run a vacuum cleaner, somewhere in your house, you could plug this sauna, turn it on, and go. Versus a large 3 or 4 person family-style sauna, typically is going to have a 240 volt power supply, typically going to have a dedicated electrical line run by a qualified electrician on its own breaker. For some people, this is no big deal. If you're in a basement or you're in a home where there's attic access and you're not far from the panel, this can usually be done for $250 to $350. If you're in a situation like I'm in currently right now, where the power panel is 70 feet over there, we have no attic access, and it's a slab on grade construction, our only choice is to either rip open the drywall inside and chase it through the walls, or number 2, dig a trench around the entire house and conduit a line from the electrical box to the sauna installation area, which is also not $250 or $300. It's more like $2,500 to $3,500. And that's if I do some of the digging. Just right up front, you need to know exactly what your electrical limitations are when you're looking at brands, models, sizes, and things like that. I can tell you right off the bat, if you're in an apartment, if you're in a condo, if you're in a townhome, most likely the HOA is not going to allow you to make modifications to the exterior. So you're really kind of limited here. If you're renting or something like that, I wouldn't even consider an electrical upgrade unless you just have tons and tons of disposable income and you really just don't care. But you're basically making updates to the structure or improvements to the structure that's not yours. So that's not something that I would personally do. But if the sauna is that valuable to you and it needs to be large in order to accommodate you, I understand why you would do it. And that leads us right into number 5, which is consider your long-term plans. Is this your forever home? Could your family situation change? Are you renting or leasing? Will you use it more often over time? For me, all this goes into my sauna selection for this particular use case or this environment. I live in Maine half the year, I live in Florida the other half. What I might need for a home wellness studio in Florida is going to be different from what I need for, a warm-up, basement gym in Maine. I go out snowmobiling half the day, I come in, I'm cold, I do workouts in the morning on gray days because no one wants to go out in 20 below zero to get a walk-in or to do a run or to do anything, actually. So the two use cases are very different. I'll actually spend more money in Maine because if there are too many gray days where you don't go out, you need more advantageous, longevity hacks inside. So I get a bigger ROI there than I do in Florida. In Florida, it's sunny almost year round. It's no big deal to go out for a walk, although in August it's about 99 degrees and you just want to leave. You have a lot more options that aren't as expensive to implement. So the biggest point here is this for your forever home? If it is, probably all of this is a worthwhile investment. If it's not, you probably want to be careful here. And if you are renting or leasing, you probably want to buy something that's easy to disassemble and take with you. Now that doesn't mean everyone should automatically buy the biggest sauna that they can afford or the smallest one. But I do think it's a reminder to think beyond your needs today and consider how you'll actually be using the sauna years from now. At the end of the day though, the perfect sauna size depends on your space, your budget, and how you plan to use it, not some social media posts about what's popular. The goal isn't to buy the biggest sauna possible, it's to buy the one that fits your life, both now and in the future. Taking a little extra time to think through these questions can save you from buyer's remorse later on. If you're trying to decide between 2 different sauna sizes, leave a comment below with the models you're considering and how many people will be using it and exactly where you plan to install it. I'll tell you which direction I'd lean and why. And if you want other opinions, not just from me, join the Facebook group, the Certified Sauna Community. There's 47,000 group members. I'm Matt. We'll see you in tomorrow's video.